This is the Jerry Hicks Show, your home for common sense content 5 nights a week, right here on the Censored Freedom Network. Now here is your host, Jerry Hicks.
Thank you, David, and thank you, everybody, for being here this wonderful evening. It is Wednesday, February the 19th, 2025. Glad to have everybody along for the ride. We've got a ton of news to get into. Before we do, ladies and gentlemen, like always, make sure you go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, follow, whatever it is on whichever platform you're on. Please go ahead and do that for us. We'd really, really appreciate it. We are on BitChute, Rumble, X, YouTube, and TikTok. We don't put our full episodes on TikTok because they don't like our full episodes over there, so especially not tonight. So we're going to get into some stuff that may or may not get me removed from every platform out there. So we'll see if this show even makes it out to you guys, ladies and gentlemen. So before we go any further, without any further ado, let us hop over here to the news rack. Here we go. There's the news rack, folks. Starting out, as we always do, with the Doge report, folks. Schools have spent nearly $200 billion. I'm not going to censor myself. I'm sorry. I know everybody else does it. I don't care. I'm not going to censor myself. So schools have spent nearly $200 billion of COVID relief funds with little oversight or impact on students. $393,000 to rent out a Major League Baseball stadium, $86,000 in Caesar Palace hotel rooms. I want a Caesar's Palace hotel room. $60,000 in swimming pool passes, and even an ice cream truck. All this money was drawn with zero documentation. There is $4 billion left, and the new U.S. EdGov is setting a simple new rule. All grantees must provide receipts for every purchase before funding is released. Ladies and gentlemen, why is this not already happening within our government? I guarantee you this is how most all businesses, if not all businesses, operate, right? So why is the business of our government not operating at any kind of efficient level? And I think a lot of that's on purpose, and I'm sure you guys do too. So $200 billion of COVID relief funds just wasted, absolutely wasted at Caesar's Palace and Major League games and swimming pools. You know what it wasn't used for? Teaching the children. You know what it was supposed to be used for? Teaching the children. This is why we've got to lock down better on how, where, and when our money is being spent. This is another reason we need to get rid of the Federal Department of Education. It is another black hole to launder money through. Incredible job by the U.S. Treasury in saving American taxpayers $1.9 billion billion. The Department of Education has terminated 18 grants. Just 5 hours ago, this was posted for $226 million to comprehensive centers which provided consulting services with a large focus on DEI. One center application stated embedding DEI reviews across all deliverables and material ensures it's not a one-off task-specific activity. So they want to make sure they work this into absolutely everything. This is what the Democrats had planned, ladies and gentlemen. A 2019 study, which itself cost $8 million, was, quote, not able to measure the causal impact of the center's work, end quote. $226 million that would have been wasted in 18 different grants by our government. And it only gets worse, ladies and gentlemen. In September 2022, the agency contracting officer mistakenly wrote $8 billion instead of $8 million when logging into an FPDS database. Doge discovered this error in January 2025. The agency updated accordingly. Doge has always used the correct numbers, and this comes as a reply to Ethan Singer over here, that tried to act like Doge is claiming they've done more than they have, which we both know they've done more than anybody in our lifetime has done for us within our government. So go Doge, go Musk. Speaking of Musk, Musk suggested the 2 astronauts that were stranded on the International Space Station were left there for political reasons. That's horrible. The fact that that's even a headline is absolutely horrible. And I know somebody called me out last night over on BitChute for just using Gateway Pundit, and they were right. I've got a couple of different sources we grabbed from today, so bear with us, folks. We'll get to those. Stranded for more than 8 months in space after Boeing's Starliner capsule was plagued by endless safety issues. They were supposed to return 8 months later. They have not. Let's hear what President Trump and, well, since the left wants to do it, why not? President Trump and President Elon have to say.
At the President's request or instruction, we are accelerating the return of the astronauts, which was postponed kind of to a ridiculous degree.
They got left in space.
They've been there. They were supposed to be there 8 days. They're there almost 300.
Biden.
They were Yes, they were left up there for political reasons, which is not good.
Okay, it's not good. Now, if I had the weight of the pressure.
And basically, they just wanted to make it a problem for Trump, and they didn't want to give Musk any kind of win because, Musk pro-Trump.
Of doing that successfully on my shoulders, I think I'd be, But when we spoke before we did this interview, you are very confident. You think this will be a successful mission.
Well, we don't want to be complacent, but we have brought astronauts back from the space station many times before, and always with success. Mm-hmm. So, as long as we're not complacent.
When are you going to launch?
I think it's about 4 weeks to bring them back.
About 4 weeks?
Yeah.
Now, that's awesome. They've been up there for so long. 4 more weeks and they'll be home. 1 more month.
And we're being extremely cautious. Yeah.
You now have the go-ahead.
Yes. Well, thanks to you.
They didn't have the go-ahead with Biden.
Did you hear that, folks? You heard that, right? We thought that the White House was doing everything they could to try to help these people. They didn't have the go-ahead. They left them there on purpose. Think about that. This is what the president, if you wanted to call him that, if you really believe that he was the president, let alone legitimately. But this is what that administration, let's put it like that. This is what they decided to do to fellow Americans, was just leave them in space. To hell with them. Think about that, folks. The Democrat Party is on its last breath, and this is why. Things like this is absolutely why. These are the people that are trying to convince you they care about anything but want to kill.
He was going to leave him in space. I think he was going to leave him in space.
Well, it's like when we were growing up, lost in space.
Yeah, he didn't want the publicity. Can you believe it?
What do you know about that? Didn't want the publicity for Musk, I think, is what he actually meant. Which is, it's terrible. To deal with people's lives like that, that's horrible. And they don't think any better of you. These are the same ones that don't believe that a fetus is life. Just saying. Doge reveals Biden's EPA awarded $2 billion. Now, this story is absolutely insane. Doge reveals that the Biden EPA awarded $2 billion. There's that $2 billion they found, right? To a firm link to election denier Stacey Abrams in the gold bar heist, right? We heard about this gold bar heist last week in reference to Lee Zeldin and the guy from the EPA saying it was like throwing gold bars over the Titanic, right? Well, fortunately, they found this money, and this firm in 2023 reported a revenue of $100. How did they get a $2 billion contract if they had a revenue of $100? A brand new startup, it seems. I think there's a little more going on here than meets the eye. This was a way to steal, once again, and give the American taxpayers' money to people that do not need it and got no business having it. I guarantee you, in my opinion anyway, let me put this very clear. In my opinion, most of that $2 billion would have went to her new mansion, her new car, her new bank account, whatever the case may be. At least that's my opinion. Thank God the American people have these gold bars, figuratively speaking, clawed back. And I say that because Well, Fort Knox is supposed to have the real gold bars, ladies and gentlemen, and whether they're there or not is still up for question. Unfortunately, it is flooded right now and cannot be accessed. How convenient is that? If I didn't know any better, if I were a conspiracy theorist and didn't know any better, I would almost think that it got flooded in that area on purpose. I don't know, maybe not. And this is another story, folks, that I refuse to censor myself on. So once again, we'll be lucky if this makes it across the platforms. I know BitChute and Rumble will at the very least. Yale scientists link COVID shot to a rare, alarming syndrome that causes distinct biological changes in the body. I'm going to repeat that. Yale scientists have made this study. This shot that we all knew something wasn't right. Scientists from one of America's most highly respected institutions have proven that the so-called conspiracy theorists were right once again regarding the COVID-19 shot. The New York Times reported on Wednesday that scientists from Yale University have linked the COVID-19 shot to rare and alarming syndrome referred to as post-vaccination syndrome. This condition was previously unknown to almost the entire country. The syndrome can cause severe symptoms including brain fog, dizziness, tinnitus, and exercise intolerance. Ladies and gentlemen, you remember when they were trying to convince people that exercise was bad for you, that it was white supremacist, that you were weird or crazy if you exercised and actually took care of your body? Why would they do that? Because, folks, exercise intolerance, they knew what this could do. Make no mistake, they knew this. Back to our article here. Moreover, sufferers have experienced distinct biological changes in their bodies, including differences in immune cells and coronavirus proteins years after taking the shot. And folks, we are not even to the end of the short term of this test. Because make no mistake, this was an experiment. That's what this was. And if you were dumb enough to be part of this experiment, congratulations, you're a test rat. In addition, scientists also discovered the vaccine can reawaken a dormant virus in the body called Epstein-Barr. Now, one hell of a name. They gave people Epstein. They Epsteined people. You heard that, right? This virus can cause symptoms such as enlarged spleen, swollen liver, swollen lymph nodes in the neck, and a rash. Folks, we were right. The science is speaking for itself. It looks here like the science may be at least somewhat settled. That this does lead to bad outcomes, or at least can lead to bad outcomes. I'm not a medical professional, and this is not medical advice. This is an article that I found online on the Gateway Pundit, a source that I trust. But ladies and gentlemen, this is disturbing. We all knew it, including the companies that produced these shots. We were never told of any side effects. None of these shots were given legally. Why? Because you have to have informed consent. Nobody to this day has had informed consent. It's impossible. Why is it impossible, you ask? Because informed consent includes all of the short-term and long-term consequences or benefits that may be had. We don't have that data. We haven't got to the long-term data. We haven't got to the end of the short-term data yet. Every COVID shot given, went against the articles. It's not Geneva. It's the other one, the German one. You know, from World War II. Right? Lord help me, I can't remember the name of that to save my life. but you know what I'm talking about, where they had the trials. The Nuremberg. I know some of you sitting there yelling at the screen. Thank you, I appreciate it. That helped. It's against the Nuremberg Code, ladies and gentlemen. Everything they did was against the Nuremberg Code. Every one of these shots given out was given out against this code. Somebody needs to pay for what has been done here. Somebody needs to go to jail. Somebody needs to be held accountable for what has happened to so many people. And that might come. It turns out that they are trying to fight against Fauci's blanket pardon that he never deserved to begin with, and still may be able to hold him to account. I'd like to see Robert F. Kennedy Jr. hold our Moderna and Pfizer and all these to account. Stop letting them do what they want to do and brainwash the American people, keeping the American people sick. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, a cured patient is a lost patient. A sick customer is a customer for life. But we do need to be careful what we say. That's why I was very clear just now, talking about the fact that these people need to be held accountable in a court of law. Because not everybody, on the left, believes that. Tesla dealership shot up in Oregon following violent rhetoric from Democrat politicians. Second criminal incident in location in 1 month. This rhetoric against Trump and Tesla and Elon, I should say, is all left-handed. It's all activist mocking stream media. Can we get that hashtag going, by the way, mocking stream media? Love to get that hashtag going. That'd be great. But ladies and gentlemen, we've got lefties going in with pew-pews and doing bad things. Again, it's all coming from one side. They try to paint us as the criminals while they go out and do criminal acts. Make that make sense. Coming to us, ladies and gentlemen, tonight from the Federalist. President Trump's Department of Government Efficiency is doing the inflation reduction. However, judges are actually causing more inflation. More than a dozen judges in the last month have issued near immediate restraining orders banning Trump from acting as the nation's chief executive. A lot of these judicial orders strike actions from DOGE, a cost-cutting initiative led by fellow tycoon Elon Musk. The administration may not temporarily freeze discretionary U.S. taxpayer funds to ensure all payments comply with policies. The ones that Americans elected Trump to enact. Well, judges have ruled that that can't happen. Because it seems the judges have more power than the American people, or so they think. It may not put federal employees on leave for insubordination or buy out their contracts, according to other judges. 14 Democrat state general attorneys sued Trump, Musk, and DOJ on February 13th, alleging that the president choosing his own subordinates and aides is unconstitutional, even though that's exactly what the president is allowed to do according to the Constitution. They couldn't get any more ridiculous, ladies and gentlemen. But it gets worse. A CBS poll taken February 5th found one of Trump's best approval ratings at 53%. 70% saying he's doing what he was elected to do. The only chaos is inside the Democrats' heads. They're the ones that are losing their minds. This time, their chief election denier strategy seems to be insisting Republicans must lose even when they win, using activist judges. But here's the problem. Government causes inflation. Now, everyone has not taken an Econ 101 class, largely because American schools suck. So I'll give you the quick and dirty version of how this works. The government controls how much money exists. The total sum of all U.S. dollars available to everyone in the world. When the government wants to spend more money than already exists, it effectively prints more, just prints more of it. Today, this printing is usually done by increasing numbers on various computer spreadsheets, but it's the same thing. Government doesn't increase the value of anything. In fact, it always decreases the value of everything because it takes money away from productive uses, mostly for transfer payments, providing money to people who didn't work for it, and bureaucrats who largely diminishes the fruit of other people's labor. Big government means more dollars in people's bank accounts without corresponding increase in value. This is inflation, ladies and gentlemen. People getting money that they didn't work for. That is what Nobel Prize winning economist Milton Friedman meant when he famously explained inflation is always and everywhere a monetary phenomena. It can be produced only by a more rapid increase in the quantity of money than in output. So, ladies and gentlemen, by them trying to stop Doge going in and actually making things run efficiently, they are actually increasing inflation and making it harder on you. These judges don't care. They're not getting paid by you. I mean, they are, but you aren't their biggest payer. You're their biggest donor. Their biggest donor, ladies and gentlemen, more likely than not, is George Soros. Or maybe Alex Soros, I should say, because George doesn't seem to be in the best of health. Finding links to the Soros family in the Joe Biden White House, though, should come as no surprise at all. In addition to George's decade-long meddling in our politics, he spent millions backing Biden and other Democrats in 2020. During the transition, the incoming Biden administration assembled a transition review team that included people tasked with understanding the operations of specific government agencies, most all of which, 17 I should say of which, it's an interesting number, were all directly from the Open Society Foundation, directly from Soros' money. Through that, Soros was able to exert influence on the transition teams ranging from the State Department to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, the mission to the United Nations, the Department of Defense, Labor, Interior, Treasury, Federal Reserve, Banking and Securities, National Security Council, Office of U.S. Trade, Veteran Affairs, basically every office that Doge has went into so far, or is going into. All of the different workings of our government were being puppet stringed by Soros themselves. The money lines up. He was even behind part of the push, of course, as we know, with the CVID. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are cutting every tie we can with Soros. Every time we find a DA or anybody on the take from this organization, folks, we're getting rid of them. These people have had their hand in America for too long, and they have one goal. George Soros has stated his goal time and time again. This is not conspiracy theory. He's been very clear. He wants to destroy America before he dies. That's his goal. Full stop, that's his goal. Coming to us from Blaze Media, DHS Secretary Kristi Noem announces nationwide ad campaign for illegal aliens. Self-deport or you will be hunted down and deported. She wants to run this campaign across the country. She said, I'm announcing a nationwide and international multi-million-dollar ad campaign warning illegal aliens to leave our country now or face deportation with the inability to return to the U.S. So something tells me this administration actually means it. Ads will be hyper-targeted, including through social media, text messages, and digital, to reach illegal immigrants in the interior of the U.S. as well as internationally. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't give a shit about refugee arguments. I don't give a shit about any argument that anyone has with these people. If they are in our country illegally, they have broken the law. I dare any one of you to go to any other country illegally and see how that works out for you. Sneak into Russia and see what happens. Sneak into Saudi Arabia or any of the Middle East countries. Sneak in Australia. See what happens. Sneak into the UK and see how they deal with that. Right? Sneak into Mexico and the cartels will take care of that problem very quickly. If you are sneaking into this country, if you are here and not a citizen illegally, you have broken the law, and that's all it takes. Just the mere fact of you existing here. Acting D.C. U.S. Attorney, I'm loving these wins, folks. The left is losing it. I think that'll be tonight's show name, Lefties Losing It. Acting D.C. U.S. Attorney Ed Martin launches investigation into threats against Doge workers and reveals Chuck Schumer is the target of this probe. This guy is well overdue for investigation, and I am sure right now he is not in a good spot. He's probably had to change his pants a couple of times today. This goes back to the threats he made against Kavanaugh and Gorsuch. You have unleashed a whirlwind. Remember that? Threats outside of the houses of the judges? Well, ladies and gentlemen, remember, as the left was so proudly mantra-ing for so long, mantra-ing, is that a word? It is now. Their mantra for so long, no one is above the law. Well, Chuck Schumer, you, sir, are no one, and you're not above the law. I can't wait to see this come down. Donald Trump and Zelensky. Ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump and Zelensky is probably one of the best dramas we've got thus far. Describing Zelensky as a modestly successful comedian, Trump said the Ukrainian leader managed to talk the United States into spending $350 billion to go into a war that couldn't be won, never had to start, but a war that he, without the U.S. and Trump, will never be able to settle. So Zelensky criticized Trump earlier Wednesday in comments to reporters. Unfortunately, President Trump, he says, I have a great respect for him as a leader of a nation that we have respect for, the American people who always support us. Unfortunately, Trump lives in this Russian disinformation space, and I know Russian isn't in this screen right here. That's what he was saying, though. That's not me putting words in his mouth. This is not a smart move, according to J.D. Vance, who says the idea that Zelensky is going to change the president's mind by bad-mouthing him in public media, everyone who knows the president will tell you that is an atrocious way to deal with this administration. Trump don't stand for stupid. That he does not. And he has worked out a 3-part plan to fix this. I believe I had that right here. Here we go. 3-stage plan: ceasefire, then Ukrainian elections, then inking a peace deal. According to Trump, Zelensky is a dictator without free elections, which he is. His time was supposed to be up a year ago, last May, as a matter of fact. But he decided, because of a war that he, got involved in, that elections were not going to be held, and he would just remain supreme leader. So part of Trump's deal with the Ukraine is that he steps down and there are elections before Putin inks a deal with Ukraine. Now, he says that this is because, this is only to help Putin, and basically calling President Trump a Putin puppet. Not a smart move, Zelensky. For as much money as this country has given you, you would really be good to be careful what words you use against our president, because he may just wipe your country off the map. He's known to do crazy stuff. Remember that. Democrats again, just can't figure it out. This is a dying party, ladies and gentlemen. There's not much left of the Democrats, and there's not going to be much left of the Democrats. According to a Quinnipiac poll today, Congressional Democrats are taking it on the chin. The poll found that only 21% of voters said that they approved of the job that Democrats are doing in Congress, an all-time low. While 40% of voters said they approved of the job Republicans are doing in Congress, an all-time high. The poll first started asking this question in 2009. So this isn't a new poll, ladies and gentlemen. Trump and the Republicans, MAGA all the way, we are winning. Gen X, ladies and gentlemen, is winning. Leftists lose it. This is one of the funniest trolls I have seen in a long, long time, folks. We're about to hear them bring the whole King Trump meme back around. The left is going to lose their mind and already are, as Trump posted a meme from the White House. And what happened, this wasn't just random. He was speaking to New York and said congestion pricing is dead. Manhattan and all of New York is saved. Long live the king. He's basically smashed congestive pricing in New York. And then made a fake cover of Time with Long Live the King on it and him wearing a crown. Of course, this is going to send the left into overdrive. Trump thinks he's a king. Trump thinks he's a king. Kathy Hochul, who was told to squash this immediately, this congestion fine, basically, said, "We are a nation of laws, not ruled by a king." And leftists are losing it. One said, "This is the most un-American White House in history." Another idiot said, "An absolute disgrace. Founding fathers rolling in their graves." And some dummy put, "We are in pre-Third Reich Germany right now." I'm telling you, the left does not understand reality by any means. And they really don't understand jokes. They hate jokes, folks. And if it isn't making them look good, they seriously hate jokes. So I think this is hilarious. No, I'm not for a king. No, I don't want Trump as my king. But I think this is just absolutely hilarious. I thought maybe you guys would get a kick out of that too. If you understand President Trump, then you understand the joke. Ladies and gentlemen, that is it for today, this Wednesday episode of the Jerry Hicks Show. We had a International Mandela Effect Conference show earlier, ladies and gentlemen. For those that don't know, I am one of the founders, the father, they call me, of the International Mandela Effect Conference. Go check that out. We did our live episode today. Had a special guest, Lee Bogus, hanging out with us, our good buddy Lee. So it's been a long day for me. That's all for us tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you again back here tomorrow night for another episode of the Jerry Hicks Show. Until then, stay awake, but dare to dream. Good night, everybody.